Well, thank you, and welcome to SolidFire's third annual Analyst Day, now NetApp SolidFire. I'm Dave Wright, SolidFire founder and now Vice President and General Manager of SolidFire at NetApp. So I'm really excited to give you an update on everything that SolidFire has been working on in the last year. We titled today, Bring On the Future, and that's really what we're trying to do here at SolidFire. For those that may not be familiar with SolidFire, may be new to SolidFire with the NetApp acquisition, I want to just spend a few minutes talking about what SolidFire is, why we're here, why we're now part of NetApp. We talk about SolidFire as the all-flash array for the next generation data center. And it's really the second part of that's most impactful. We'll spend some time talking about flash today. But it is really the architecture of SolidFire that was born in the cloud that is bringing cloud agility to next-generation enterprise data centers that really makes SolidFire unique and different both within NetApp and really across the industry. An architecture that delivers seamless scale-out agility, guaranteed performance with quality of service, multi-tenant networking, continuous automation of the environments, and inline efficiencies across one of the easiest to use and deploy flash architectures today. This is what SolidFire is, and if you're not familiar with us, I encourage you to go to solidfire.com and learn more about what SolidFire does. But first, I want to talk a little bit about flash. Now, SolidFire's story has never been focused on flash, but we can't deny that the rapid adoption of flash has been a big part of the success that we've had. And now SolidFire is part of NetApp, a company with what I consider the best flash portfolio in the market today. So while the rest of today is focused on SolidFire, I want to take a few minutes to talk about how we fit in to that flash portfolio and NetApp's leadership position in flash today. So NetApp has three flash products, and the reason for that is because flash is not a product, flash is not a use case. Flash is a medium, and flash is a technology that is being deployed across the entire enterprise data center in a variety of different environments and use cases. And one storage architecture, one storage product cannot cover all of the uses for flash in the data center. So NetApp has three leading products for flash, starting with the EF series. The EF series is the speed demon of flash. This is the drag racer. This is the platform for customers looking for extreme performance from flash. And this is very much where flash got its start in the marketplace, as a performance acceleration platform for applications that need dramatic improvement in performance and response time. And while all flash products are fast, the EF series is best in class. Second is AllFlash FAS. This is all the richness of ONTAP when it comes to the broadest data services platform in the industry. All of the protocols, all of the features, pretty much anything a customer would want to do with an enterprise storage array in a traditional data center environment with all of the benefits of flash. The performance, the inline data efficiencies, the tremendous value that is delivered in the ONTAP platform combined with the goodness of flash. And finally, SolidFire, a next-generation architecture for cloud-like infrastructure and enterprise and service providers that brings scalable performance, quality of service, multi-tenancy, and automation to thousands of applications with cloud-like agility. And this portfolio is now a $700 million a year run rate business for NetApp. It's grown tremendously over the last few years, as I'll show in a minute. And anybody who thinks that NetApp is a laggard in flash really hasn't been paying attention. Which brings me to the analyst. So I want to talk a little bit about the analyst view of the flash market. When analysts talk about the all-flash array market, this is the type of numbers that they show. And this is, not to pick on anybody in particular, this is one particular analyst view of the all-flash array market, but a lot of different analysts have a similar view. What you see here is the breakdown of the market share between hybrid flash arrays and all-flash arrays going out toward the end of 2019. And the all-flash array market being on the bottom, forecasting out to something like 28% of the combined market by the end of 2019. Now, as a standalone company in the flash market with SolidFire, I never really thought this was aggressive enough. The adoption that I was seeing in flash, the interest that I was seeing in flash, seemed to greatly exceed the pace that the analysts viewed flash being adopted in the enterprise. And that was my feeling. I couldn't really validate that because I only sold flash products. So I only saw the adoption of flash. I didn't see what was going on with hybrid. But now part of NetApp, it's a different story. And NetApp happens to be one of the top 2 vendors in the hybrid storage space. And importantly, they have a hybrid storage product that also has all-flash available with all-flash FAS. And so that leading hybrid product that now is available in all-flash configurations, to me, should be a really great proxy for the adoption of flash in the market. And so when I got to NetApp, I asked the question, how quickly are NetApp customers moving in ONTAP from hybrid to all-flash? And now for the first time, I've gotten permission to show the answer. And there it is. So this blue line is the percentage of quarterly bookings for on-flash all-tap versus hybrid. And you'll notice a couple of things about this. The first thing is that in the last year, NetApp has absolutely been killing it in all-flash adoption. This thing is taking off like a rocket. The second is that the all-flash market share within NetApp, and of course this isn't the entire industry, but I do think NetApp is a great bellwether for all-flash adoption in the industry, is way, way ahead of the analyst projections for the all-flash array market. In NetApp's Q4, which just wrapped up, all-flash FAS was a full 33% of ONTAP configured systems bookings. 33%. And look at the trajectory of that adoption. So I can't say for sure how quickly that line is going to continue up and to the right. I don't know if it's going to slow down at some point. But what I can say is that all-flash adoption is no joke. Customers are moving to this tremendously quickly. All-flash arrays are not a niche. They are mainstream at this point. And pretty soon, they're going to be the dominant option for primary storage in the enterprise. And so while some may think it's early, I think we should have a moment of silence for hybrid arrays. Sadly, they won't be missed. So let's talk about what's been going on in the NetApp Flash portfolio in the last year, because NetApp across the portfolio has made some tremendous advances. Starting with the EF series. So the EF series continues to tear it up on every performance benchmark, every cost per performance metric in the industry today. Number 1 SPC2 result for throughput. Number 6 overall result for SPC1 IOPS. Number 4 for highly available systems. And the number 1 for the lowest response time metric. Tremendous, tremendous performance that they continue to improve in each release of the EF series. All-flash FAS. Just this week, ONTAP 9 was announced. And it brings a number of tremendous advances to the all-flash FAS platforms, starting with 15 terabyte SSD drives. And if you read the press release, I think it's interesting. They've been talking about 15 terabyte SSD drives, which is an insane amount of capacity, 50% larger than the largest hard drives that are available today. Now, the interesting thing is these drives are actually 15.3 terabytes. And for convenience, everybody just rounded down to 15 terabytes when they talk about it. That's 300 gigabytes we're not even talking about. For perspective, when SolidFire started 6 years ago, 300 gigabytes was the largest SSD that we had available to us. And now we're just rounding down 300 gigabytes. Tremendous capacity that we're talking about in all-flash FAS. Full inline efficiencies, including a new inline data compaction standard with a 4-to-1 data reduction guarantee. Increased simplicity of deployment, 10 minutes to power on and serve data. continued improvements in performance across the platform for enterprise applications, new key management functionality. ONTAP 9 is really continuing to deliver value for the AllFlash FAS platform. That brings us to SolidFire. And we're going to spend most of the rest of the time talking about SolidFire today and the way that SolidFire is fundamentally changing the way that enterprises buy, deploy, and manage their storage. So let's talk about SolidFire. Last year at Analyst Day, we introduced this idea of one platform and multiple consumption models. The idea is that SolidFire, at the end of the day, is a software platform. It's our element operating system which delivers all of the unique capabilities we have around scale out, around data reduction, around quality of service, multi-tenancy automation. But we've realized that customers are buying and deploying infrastructure in a variety of different ways today. They're not just buying appliances. They're buying infrastructure as a service. They're buying converged infrastructure. They're buying software to deploy on commodity hardware. And we wanted to be able to deliver SolidFire across all of these different consumption models. And last year we talked about the different ways that SolidFire is delivered through our service providers with Fueled by SolidFire, Agile Infrastructure, our Converged Infrastructure offering, our best-of-breed appliances, and of course, Element X, our software-only offering. So today I want to walk you through the progress that we've made in each of these areas and the new announcements, because I've got a tremendous amount of new information to share, a lot of advances we're making, and we're making them across the entire platform. So let's start with the software. Today we're announcing Element OS 9, our 9th release of the Element operating system. Convenient name Fluorine, the 9th release, the 9th element in the periodic table. And this release, as with all of our others, is a seamless, non-disruptive upgrade for our customers. 80% of SolidFire customers run the latest release of SolidFire within 2 quarters of availability, which is a tremendous adoption rate and really proves the simplicity of our upgrade model and the simplicity of our model that guarantees software compatibility for customers. This release has a number of advances we think are really powerful for customers, starting with the best vVols implementation in the industry. And we really think of this as VMware vVols done right. Some of the early vVols implementations were frankly half-baked. They required standalone servers or virtual machines. They came with all kinds of limitations. They weren't highly available. They didn't allow per VM functionality. We've taken the time to do this right. We've integrated VMware vVols and VASA as a native protocol into our system through the same protocol endpoint that we deliver our own APIs. We've made it highly available across the cluster, and we've delivered all of the richness of the SolidFire feature set across the per VM functionality that VMware vVols provides. And we're really excited to roll this out to our customers. There's a lot more in Fluorine as well, including a significant upgrade to our fiber channel support, tripling the overall performance to over 2 million IOPS, increased scalability. We've got a brand new user interface that is amazing. SolidFire's interface was always very functional. Now it's functional and sexy. And for customers that are spending a lot of time in the UI, they'll find it much more productive, much easier to consume, and allow them to get on with their day a lot easier. And then finally, we've increased, I would say, our lead when it comes to multi-tenant networking. SolidFire has a strong background in complex networked service provider and telco environments, and we're continuing that leadership position with introduction of VRF multi-tenant networking that allows for overlapping IP ranges in complex service provider environments. So very excited to see all of these software advances coming in the Fluorine release. So let's talk about the delivery mechanisms for SolidFire. Starting with Fueled by SolidFire. This is our ability for customers to go and buy SolidFire as a service from dozens of service providers worldwide. And this program has continued to increase with new service providers added every week. We added dozens and dozens last year, and just a few of those are up here. That really shows the leadership position that we have in service providers around the world. Customers like 1&1 in Europe, NTT in Japan, Internet Solutions, the largest service provider in South Africa, Hosting here in the US, KT in Korea. SolidFire continues to be the all-flash array of choice for complex service provider and telco public cloud environments. Next up, Converged Infrastructure. SolidFire is now part of a company with one of the leading converged infrastructure platforms in the world, FlexPod. And we're excited to announce today that SolidFire is going to be fully integrated with FlexPod, starting with a technology extension in Q3, followed by full implementation of SolidFire-based FlexPods past that. And for me, the really exciting thing is that our intent is to base the SolidFire version of FlexPod 100% on UCS hardware. So we're going to have a converged infrastructure solution based on Cisco hardware, NetApp software, VMware, and OpenStack for cloud management, delivering, I think, one of the most compelling converged infrastructure solutions in the market. Very excited to be part of the FlexPod family. Next up is our appliances. We continue the march forward with more capacity and more performance with the SF19210. Compared to the 9605 that we announced last year, we've got double the performance, double the capacity, 30% lower cost per gigabyte, and importantly, full interoperability with all of our existing hardware platforms and nodes. So a customer who bought SolidFire 4 years ago can buy these new nodes, add them to our existing clusters. No forklift upgrades, there's no controller swaps, there's no, you need to buy a new system to get these benefits. We continue to deliver value with the interoperability of flash-forward compatibilities guarantee. The SF19210 continues that march forward. And for some companies doing a big announcement, this would be the centerpiece of their announcement. Hey, we just doubled the capacity and performance of our platform. And that's really exciting for us. But for us, it's all of the things we're announcing today together that really make SolidFire special. So very excited about this tremendous capacity and performance we're driving, over a petabyte of capacity and 1.5 million IOPS in about a third of a rack footprint, continuing to push the bar when it comes to flash adoption. And finally, Element X. So we announced Element X a year ago as our software-only option, particularly focused at hyperscale customers, those who are at such a large scale that they've decided to take control of their hardware supply chain, take control of the manufacturing of the equipment that goes into their data center, and buy all of the IP as software. And we're excited that we've had a lot of success with this in the last year, both in terms of adoption by hyperscale players, but probably more broadly in terms of the conversations that it's opened up with enterprises that are looking at software only as part of their data center strategy going forward. And we've learned a lot from those conversations. And I want to share with you today some of the things we've learned about enterprise adoption of software only or software-defined storage. The first is that they are looking for alternatives to appliance licensing. The model of buying storage appliances is a problem for a lot of advanced enterprises today. They really see it as too rigid for a modern agile data center. All the software cost is incurred up front when you buy the hardware. The software rights are tied to the hardware. They can't be transferred. The data reduction technologies that are important to the economics of all flash arrays impose a lot of uncertainty and risk around actual storage cost. And this is something that I think is difficult to understand until you get in a situation where you have to discuss with a customer what their expected efficiencies are. And you realize that within a range of efficiencies, it can have a dramatic impact on the cost of that platform. And vendors are often at odds with the customer because a vendor's incentive is mismatched. A vendor wants to sell more hardware, more boxes. That's how they make their money. And so delivering high levels of efficiency works against that. So while they want to convince a customer they're going to get high efficiency, they, at the end of the day, hope that the customer doesn't get that. And it's a mismatch that causes a lot of friction in the sales process when it comes to data efficiencies, but is inherent in the model of selling boxes, of selling appliances. And customers are looking to get away from that. However, customers also told us that software-only storage solutions are complex to purchase and support. When they've tried it, they found that the amount of time it takes to select, procure, qualify hardware, to integrate it, to do the system burn-in and testing, the long lead times and commitments that it comes from specialized storage hardware and things like SSDs, they're expertise that most IT organizations just don't have today. There's complexity when it comes to deployment. There's complexity when it comes to support. And the matrix between the chassis vendors, the add-in cards, the SSDs, and the software vendors that most enterprises just aren't looking to deal with. So, fundamentally what they're telling us is they like the flexibility of software-only licensing, but they don't like all of the complexity that comes from having to source, integrate, and support separate storage hardware and software. And so we looked at this challenge and said, how can we fundamentally change the game here? How can we give customers what they really want? And so today we're introducing flash-forward capacity licensing. This is a new model, we think, for selling storage that combines the value and flexibility of software-only licensing with the simplicity of storage appliances. And here's how it works. We fundamentally split apart the purchasing of SolidFire software from the hardware. And customers can license our Element operating system on an enterprise-wide basis based on a maximum amount of provision capacity, and then separately come and purchase the hardware. And they can purchase SolidFire certified hardware. We sell it to them, or our partners sell it to them on effectively a pass-through cost basis. We leverage the supply chain we have, the volume purchasing that we have to get the best possible price on this hardware, and then we simply pass it on to the customers. And the goal here is not for us to make money on the hardware. At the end of the day, we're a software company. We want to make money on the software. That's where the value it is to us. Software and hardware can be ordered together, or they can be ordered separately. But we've maintained the simplicity of the appliance model when it comes to delivering systems that are pre-imaged, tested, configured, and ready to install. We've also maintained the simplicity of the appliance model when it comes to support. Still a single call for all support issues, hardware or software. And on the surface, this model seems pretty simple, but there are some really unique benefits that come when you break down how this works in practice. Starting with the flexibility that's fundamental here. Customers can purchase the software and hardware separately. There's no requirement that they match the timing of the purchase of the hardware to the software. For example, a customer who has long lead times to get hardware into their data center can pre-purchase and pre-position hardware and come back and buy the software licenses when they actually turn it up. A customer who has budget to spend and wants to acquire more storage can buy software licenses. They can get volume discounts as a result of that, but they can come back and buy the hardware over time because flash hardware, as we've seen, continues to get cheaper, and we're going to pass those price reductions on to customers so they can get more efficient by just-in-time purchasing of their hardware. There's no need to rip and replace that hardware for performance upgrade. They can continue to add more hardware to that without having to change their software licensing. This is very efficient. You've got a perpetual enterprise-wide software license. You don't have silos of software and hardware. You've got a single pool of license capacity across your entire enterprise, which leads to much higher utilization, much more effective utilization of those software licenses. The licenses are perpetual. This addresses a huge complaint that customers have about appliance-based storage. And that is, when I want to upgrade my hardware, I have to effectively replace all of that software as well. And there's a huge cost to that, and it's a huge impediment to customers modernizing, consolidating, upgrading their infrastructure. And with a model that separates the software and hardware, gives customers perpetual software entitlements, and allows them to come in at any time and consolidate, upgrade, or replace the hardware without the added burden of software replacement on top of that, they can save significant money and have far more agility. The third piece of this is predictability. Customers are constantly telling us, look, we know storage cost goes down over time. We want that to be more predictable. We want to understand how we can get consistent price reductions without having to come back and haggle every single quarter over what the price of storage should be. And so we've built this model with a predictable cost reduction model built in. The larger a customer's deployment, the lower their cost gets over time. And this creates a predictability and a visibility around storage cost that you just don't have with traditional appliance licensing. The other big benefit is that the software licensing is based on provision capacity. And this addresses the big challenge of uncertainty around data reduction. Because the pricing is based on effectively how much data you're putting into the system, not how much it finally reduces to, customers can know how much their cost is going to be coming into this. And they're going to have predictability around cost that you just don't have with an appliance model. And importantly, for the first time, this puts the vendor, SolidFire, NetApp, and the customer in alignment when it comes to storage efficiencies. Because our incentive is to give them the most efficiency as possible, let them reduce the hardware footprint that they need to buy, because we're not making money on the hardware. Our goal is to make money on the software. And from the customer's perspective, they get to save money and deploy less hardware. We're in alignment on storage efficiencies as opposed to at odds. And we think that's incredibly important as we continue to push the bar on data efficiency. And finally, this is a scalable model. This is a model where customers get continued discounts as they grow. They get a predictable reduction in cost as they grow. Storage gets cheaper as they grow. They leverage the cost curve on flash on an ongoing basis. This is a model that is built for customers at scale, which has always been SolidFire's customer base. We're really excited about introducing this model to the market. So flash forward capacity licensing is part of our flash forward program. Unparalleled software licensing flexibility, future-proof software and hardware with our compatibility guarantees, and active support. These are the things that go far beyond a traditional storage company that really make NetApp SolidFire and our appliances and our systems and our software-only solution a true platform for next-generation data centers. But we're just getting started. SolidFire and now NetApp SolidFire are continuing to push the bar. And when we look out further, where we go from here, we're not slowing down. We're going to extend the scope of what we do. New hardware platforms, new protocols, new data services to address the broad range of applications moving to flash. We continue to see, and you've seen on that flash adoption chart, that customers are replacing more and more of their primary storage infrastructure with flash, and that requires a broader support of data services and protocols, and SolidFire is looking to continue that over time. The second is integration. As part of NetApp, we have access to a rich portfolio of other storage products. And while we're not combining NetApp or SolidFire directly with any of the other NetApp products, we are integrating them. We've released integrations with On-Command Insight today. We're integrating into the object storage products. We're integrating into the cloud backup products. And we're integrating more broadly into the data fabric. And we have a number of exciting things that we'll be rolling out over the quarters and years to come to make a SolidFire system a full participant in NetApp's data fabric vision of getting the right data to the right place at the right time. And finally, we're going to continue to simplify. Customers have told us that as quickly as their data center environments are growing, as demanding as their business users are when it comes to agility, they need simplification. They need to streamline the deployment and management of SolidFire. They want to handle everything from the smallest virtualization environments to the world's largest clouds on a single platform. And we're going to continue to drive SolidFire in both of those directions. So thank you very much for joining us today. We're excited to share the innovation that SolidFire is bringing to the market, and we look forward to bringing on the future. Thank you very much.